Here's the thing. Most of you are operating in a situation where you want to be in a specific place, you want to be in a specific situation, you want to move in a certain thing in a certain way. Now, the reason you haven't moved in that certain way is because you are deceived. Now, why are you deceived? You're not deceived in the place of where most people were called deceived. Those of you that don't understand what I'm saying when it comes to deception, you'll find yourself in a lot of different places. So here's what I'm saying. What's happening right now is what you are and what you're trying to do is pressing where you're supposed to be. What's in your mind right now are different mindsets, thought processes that are now causing you to move in a direction that is contrary to what you have. But in those things, you've been drawn away. You follow me? You've been drawn away by your lust, you're enticed. Now, here is the challenge that most people have. You think that lust only has something to do with sex or intimacy. Lust does not only have to do with intimacy, it can do with anything. That's why there's a passage that says when the love of money or the lust of money is the root of all evil. Now, there's so many things that can be dug out of that thing, and I really need you guys to hear me. Most of you have been placed in a position where what you are looking for in your life, hear me guys, what you're looking for in your life what began with an appetite. You allowed that appetite to be conceived, and that conception brought about a draw, an attraction. And that attraction turned into a hunger, and that hunger turned into a lust. The more you lacked that thing, the more it became a lust. One of the things I talk to people that really have that have gone from money, from nothing to something, one of the things that's very interesting about them, when they've gone to that level, 9 times out of 10, they go, Dallas, the first thing I realized is all the stuff that I thought I wanted, I didn't want. Y'all not hearing me. All the stuff that I thought I wanted, all the things I thought I needed, all the things I thought were necessary were not actually necessary. Why? Because when I didn't have this, this would happen. I didn't have that. He said, I began to hunger for things that were not necessary. But because I didn't have them, it was okay to dream about them. It was okay to lust after them. But because I didn't have them, I found myself lusting after them. But when I got money, it made sense that I shouldn't purchase them. I shouldn't do anything with them. I should just basically keep living my life. You got me? But here's the kicker. You know the lust that you have? Let's read something. Let's read something in James. Let's read something in James. Okay? James, the 1st chapter, says something very interesting. So follow me here. Follow me. Starting with the 12th verse, it says this. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive a crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. Now, follow me here. He said, you're going to receive a crown of life when you endure temptation. Why? Because temptation, listen to me very carefully. What you have to realize is everything that is written according to the plan for your life, it is different and it is deeper than what people say. So when you understand something, now follow me now, I'm going to help you guys out. You're going to see 3 different interpretations of the Bible. All right? This is why we have such a problem in the church. We have the religious interpretation, which keeps you moving in religion. We have the Christian interpretation, which keeps you moving in labor. And we have the spiritual interpretation, which connects you to God. Do I need to say that again? We have the religious interpretation, which keeps you in religion. The Christian interpretation, which keeps you in labor. And the spiritual interpretation that connects you to God. Y'all got that? All right, pay attention. Pay attention. So, he goes on and says, verse 13, let no man say that he is tempted. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot tempt with evil, neither tempt he any man. Now, all you people that are saying, God trying to get your attention so he let sickness on you. God trying to get your attention, that's why you had that wreck. God trying to get your attention. All those things are not true. Yeah, it's not true. God didn't wake up and say, I'm going to let you have an accident so that you would listen to me. God didn't say, I'm going to let your aunt die, your uncle die, your situation happen. It's not going to, it's because I'm trying to get your attention. That is not God's way. Now, that's the religious way. That's the religious interpretation of it. Okay? Now, let's take it to the Christian interpretation of it. He said, let no man say that I'm tempted of God, for God cannot tempt with evil, neither tempt he any man. Now, the Christian interpretation, oh my God, that's me, so I'm a terrible person, and because the Lord he's overlooked me, and because I'm just being tempted by, oh my God, I was tempted, the Lord is the tempter. That's the Christian interpretation. You think that God is talking to you as somebody that he dislikes, or somebody that he doesn't want to be around, so you are now judging yourself according to that passage. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not what the passage is saying. So the sickness you have was not God's messenger to you. Well, Paul said he had something that was there, and it must have been a sickness. Listen, this is why I tell you, we are not walking after the people or the characters in the Bible. We're walking after the principles in the Bible. Now, let me tell you something that's going to be really secret. Please take a lot of notes. Why? Because this is probably going to be one of those times that you wish you did. I'll give you a minute. Go get your notes. Go get some paper right. You're going to wish you took notes for this. This always happens. The camera doesn't write, the lights go crazy, something, and then all of a sudden the Spirit of God speaks something that's so profound that you wish you had it. Thank God that's recorded. So the religious says the one thing. The Christian said that it's a labor on them. It's something I did. It's something wrong with me. It's something terribly wrong. I must have done something wrong. So let's look at this passage from a spiritual standpoint. Let no man say that I am tempted. No, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, or for God. For God cannot tempt with evil, neither tempt he any man. The spiritual interpretation says, God says, hey, sweetie, that's not me. What you're dealing with, that's not me. That's something else. You need to get it because it's trying to get you. That's not me. God, it's a warning. God's going, listen, that thing that's trying to get you, that situation that's trying to get you, that son, that person that's trying to get you, that hater that keeps popping up on your screen, that's not me. It's something else. He said, don't say that's God. Don't say that your sickness was God. Don't say the accident was God. Now, one line that I heard in church that I will always remember. He said, God will take what happened bad and use it for your good. I love that line because it lines up with Romans 8:28. But it's not. You're not tempted by God. This is not God trying to see how close you'll get to sin or how close you'll get to the fire. Psalm says, can a man put fire in his bosom and not be burned? But I want you to understand something. We are being deceived, and we're deceiving ourselves. And the reason we're deceiving ourselves is because we are putting ourselves in positions where we believe that what is happening to us has a direct relation to what we've done. Oh, this is going to be so good for somebody. It has a direct relation to what we've done. But it does and it doesn't. So let's move on. Now, verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. You follow me? Every man is tempted when he's drawn away from his own lust and enticed. Verse 14. We'll get to the rest of it deeper a little bit in a little bit. Now, here's where I want you to understand. And this is where some of you are going to get so upset with me. I appreciate you loving me, but follow me. The lust and the entice, for those of you that have attended a church of any kind, my church, your church, your Baptist, those churches, hear me very closely. The lusts that are established in you were given to you by circumstances, by religion, and by leadership. You have been tempted and enticed by that. There's a pastor right now, I saw him on television. He has a Gucci suit from head to toe. A Gucci suit. A Gucci suit. Listen to me very carefully. What you have to realize is if you want to get into a place where you see the amazing move of God, number one, you've got to get away from the number one thing that happens to all of us. And the number one thing that happens to all of us that entices us is self-centered protection. What does that mean? You are protecting yourself by covering up the true person that you are. That's why this thing has a mask. And what you do is you cover yourself up by the true person by putting things that make people think that you're better than you are, or people that make people think that you're a great person or a bad person. So you got people to go, I'm just an evil person. I'm just bad. The devil don't like me. That is a way to say that you're insecure or you're afraid or you're protecting yourself. But leaders have gone out and deceived the masses. Listen to me. There is nothing wrong with driving a Bentley, driving a Cadillac, driving a nice car, driving those types of things. And I don't have a problem with that. If you got 15, 20 million members, I love you. Do what you got to do. But the key that you have is when I have interpreted your existence in the spirit with things or with feelings, then what I have done to you is I have deceived you. Not only have I deceived you, I've given you the opportunity to deceive others. Are you following me? If I have a Mercedes-Benz, but I don't flaunt my Mercedes. I may flaunt how God gave it to me, but I'm not going to flaunt it. If I am up in the pulpit, I don't care. I'm wearing this right now because this is what I was told to wear. But if I'm going to lead you in a direction, going to show you something, that leading is not according to what I think of my own personal lust. We have done this to the body of Christ. Because what we've done is we've kept them under labor. Because if I give you a big enough lust, I can control you. If I give you a large enough lust, I can control you. It's sad. It's probably one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. If I give you a large enough lust, I can control you. Now, has everybody got that? Now, don't go throwing pastors out of pulpits. Don't go. Just don't be in there. But I give you a large enough lust, I can control you. Is everybody ready to go deeper? You ready to go deeper? Everybody ready on the next time? Everybody, everywhere that's typing. I got TikTok, I got Instagram. Everybody typing, I want you to type deeper. All right? Deeper. Because I'm about to take you to a place that's going to mess your world up, change your religion, and empower you better than you've been empowered in your entire life. This passage is going to change everything about you. So if you're ready to go deeper, just type the word deeper. All right, there we go. Deeper, deeper. There we go. Deeper, deeper. Now, everybody here, if you can, if you're on Instagram, go and go friend somebody. If you're on TikTok, go share this, because you want your friends to be just as free as you want to. So here, follow me here. So what happens is religion has given you such a high reach that only person that can get you to that reach is the pastor. When I do the class, when we do this master class, my job in the master class is to get you to a point in your life where you master your spiritual movement and your spiritual existence, where you can talk to God. You can ask God. But what has happened to you is you have been tied up in religion. Some of you haven't been to church in 12, 5, 7, 8 years, but you are still stuck in religion. You want me to know? Let me tell you how I know you're still stuck in religion. You're still moved by how people feel. I can't believe she said that to me. I can't believe she did that to me. I can't believe. All those things are people that are steeped in religion, because religion is an eye for an eye. We say it's not, but it is. So when somebody does something to you and you're working to get them back, you're still religious, sweetheart. You're still stuck in religion. You think you're out of the church, but the church is so deep in you, you got to do something back to that person. Somebody passed you out yesterday. We're driving down the street. While we're driving down the street, somebody does something stupid. And my wife does not like stupid people. I'm sorry, that's the way she is. They did something and kept driving. My wife, if I had not said something to her, would have been talking about that man that did something stupid for the next 20 minutes. Her mood changed, her attitude changed. Anybody there? Anybody there? Somebody cut you off and you cussing that person out. Ain't nobody in the car but you. You're religious, honey. You have been deceived to feel like that is a real emotion. That is a real thing. You're religious. And so what's happened to you, you are now wondering why you can't get what God has for you. You can't move the way God wants you to move, and you're constantly complaining. Why? Because you don't see God as God. You see him as an addition to your religion. You better preach, pastor. You see them as an addition to your religion. And so what you have to do is you go, I see Uncle Dallas move in some areas. Now, this is going to sound arrogant, sound self-centered. I apologize. My bad. I don't let that bother me. Now, is there a level that bothers me? Yes. But honey, you can cut it off. You can say something to me. You can ignore me. I don't care. Why? My source of emotion and my source of spirit is about God. It is not about you. I don't care what you do in your car. I don't care what you do that's stupid in your life. That's your life. I've got to live my life. Why? Because I do stupid stuff every once in a while too. But you're caught in religion. And the reason you're caught in religion is because we allowed you to stay in religion. We allowed you not to understand, but I was up teaching you stuff, and we teaching you and pulling up in the Bentley, and we got shows going on. We are not teaching you how to stay connected to God. But baby, that's not the deep part. So here's the deep part. So what you did to deceive yourself is you begin to reach for visions and goals and ideas and thoughts and situations that you saw because somebody said, hey, you can manifest this, baby. All you have to do is manifest this. But you haven't done the things that have gotten you prepared for manifestation. So a man comes to you and he says, love you and need you and help you. And then every woman, all my sisters, listen to me now. He told you that he needed you. He showed you some type of needed you, or he gave you some type of physical gratification, whether it was sex or whether it was he was romantic, or biggest one, he started looking saved. He said a prayer before dinner. He talked about how the Lord is leading him and guiding him. All these things. So what he did is he put something up so high that you followed after it and you begin to lust after what this person offered to you. Oh yeah, it happens to me and all the time. She comes in and you know she's out of your league. You know this woman could not possibly be after you. Not this fine woman, and she's looking at you like you're the greatest thing in the world. So you follow after that, and that thing is set so high you only believe that she can give you that. So what happens to you, ladies, he leaves you, and because he's broken something inside of you, you now don't want him to leave, even though he's abusing you. You go to a job. Oh my God, are y'all hearing me? See, that little scripture was so deep. When I began to read it, I started to go, I don't believe this. You go to a job. They tell you you're not educated. They tell you you're not this. You've only had 5 interviews, and those 5 interviews have determined that you are not good enough to do anything. So you take any old job. You don't go read something so you can learn something. You just simply take any old job. Let me help you out, ladies. Let me help you out, gentlemen. Let me help everybody out. Y'all ready? I'm going to help y'all. I'm going to help y'all. Religion says eye for an eye. So when somebody does something to you and you don't instantly forgive them, why? Because you thought they've done you some type of injustice. You've never involved God in that situation. You thought they've done you some type of injustice. You are still operating in religion. Y'all ready? Are y'all sure y'all ready for this? So you go to a situation and a pastor does something that you don't like. You've done with one pastor, maybe 5 pastors, and all of a sudden every pastor is wrong. So you come in scrutinizing every pastor. So you've gone from religion. You're not religion anymore. You saved. You Christian. And what Christian does and saved does, not born again, what saved does is you try to protect yourself from what the other pastor did or the other person did or the other situation did. So you are drawn away by the lust of protecting yourself. So when they do something, you're sitting there going, they did this to me. I can't believe they did this to me. I had it happen to me. Somebody did something to me and I wanted them to fix what they did to me. To God said, if you forgive them, I'll fix it and we'll deal with the situation later. No, I didn't want to forgive them. The moment I forgave, God did his thing. Now, so you get with this man. And he tells you nobody's going to want you with 5 kids. Nobody's going to want you because you're old. Nobody's going to want you because you're fat. You've dealt with 5 men in your life. So with that 5 men appetite has turned you into an instantaneous lust. So you're lusting after not being by yourself. You're lusting after I can't have anything. Honey, if you have a job right now, I don't care what it is. I don't care how it is. If you want another job, begin to take the internet, begin to read about the other job, begin to look at what that job involves. And when you go to the next interview and they say, do you have experience? You say, yes, I have customer service experience. Always say that. I'm telling you a hack. I'm going to give you a little trick. Always say I have customer service experience. Then you tell them, do you know anything about our company? Yes, I know this about your company, that about your company, that about your company. And you've only read that stuff. Why? Because you are looking at a resume that says something about you, but you're not looking at the person that's talking to you. Because I employed people, work for a company, we don't really care about your resume. Resume is just saying, are they a liar or are they telling the truth? And begin to read and study the next level. Be willing to take an entry-level job that's making more than what you're making right now. I want to be customer service. Have you ever served customer service? Well, you know what? I did this. Why? Because you have allowed the 5 jobs you have to break you down so much to the point that you now lust after any old job, lust after any old thing, because you want to feel like this is going to survive. Bring God back in the situation. That man that left you can't define you. That situation that hurt you can't define you. That person that did that to you doesn't define you. Don't let it. There are people that have taken things from me. There are people that I've asked to do stuff. They just didn't do it. Do you think I'm sitting there going, God, what's wrong with me? No. When something happens, if you go to somebody and something they were supposed to do, they didn't do it, forgive them. Now, that doesn't mean let them off the hook. That just means forgive them. Why? Don't spend too much time with that situation. Because I'm going to tell you a little secret. What you have to realize is some of the situations that have happened in your life, God has already fixed the situation. But you're still dealing with the situation to the point that you don't see what God did to fix it. God is not using these opportunities to get you. Can I take it a little deeper? We're going a little deeper. So now what's happening deep inside your spirit right now, you are broken. And so what you have is your fact that you don't think you can go any higher than this thing. So what happens is you get frustrated every time you try to do something. When you try to do that thing because it doesn't work out the way you want it to do, you get frustrated. Why? Because you're no longer in a situation that you've been called to. You're in a situation that's called you. Hear me again. You're not in a situation you've been called to. You're in a situation that has called you. So what men have done is now they submit to everything the woman has said because they want to keep peace around the house. So they want to make sure that is. But that's not what God called you to do. God said, go do this. But what we'll do is we will sit there and figure out whether God will allow us to do it by what our wives say. Oh, girl, you know how. No. Kendra and I have a problem. We sit down and talk. I don't like this. It may not be discussed at that very moment. You can best believe it will be discussed because I'm not going to lust after, hear me, I'm not going to lust after trying to make everything okay when God is taking me in a different direction. You are not stuck where you are. God is not mad at you. He's not upset. It's not because you're not saved. It's not because you've been living in religion and Christianity so long that you are stuck in religion thinking you're being Christian. Inside of you right now, your lusts are not defined by you. Read an article one time and they said, did you know that cancer is not actually hereditary? But for the sense of trying to get one generation and next generation to stay in the cancer loop, they can make money off you. They say to you that cancer is hereditary. Ladies and gentlemen, cancer is not hereditary. And they said, this is what he said. He said, it's so simple that we don't pay attention to it. He said, if cancer was a hereditary, when the child is born, cancer would be in there. But he come out looking like his daddy. He come out with almost a mustache like his mama. You follow me? All the stuff that's hereditary is in the baby. But we'll believe that they got cancer. So because your mama died of cancer, they're going to say, oh, if your mama had cancer, if your daddy had cancer, you're going to have cancer. Sweetie, even if it was hereditary, you got God. From the moment you realize that it's hereditary is the moment you pick the battle. You begin to fight. What most of you are dealing with right now today is the life that your parents lived. Why? Because you've never broken the tie of the parent living and connected yourself to God. But religion will keep you there. Christianity will keep you there. Spirituality will help you change. He said, by lust and entice, you are drawn away by enticing things that happen to you. So what happens is I got to keep putting enticing things in front of you. I got to keep putting enticing stuff around you. I got to keep showing you, look over here. We got a nice car over here. Look over here. It's a nice house over there. Look over here. I don't watch TV anymore. Baby, whether this is a $3,000 suit or whether it's a $300 suit or whether it's a $3 suit, it doesn't matter. Why? Because I'm not in a position of lusting after anything, not when I serve God. See, because spirituality doesn't even give room to lust, because God can give you whatever lust you were trying to lust, whatever thing you were trying to lust after. But you got to free him. Look at Matthew. He said, if he clothes the lilies of the field, aren't you more than they? That man can't, I don't know why I'm staying here. That man, that job, that situation does not define you. Write your way out. Figure your way out. But it's going to take discipline. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take being in a position with God where you are listening to God and you're trusting God. It's going to take sometimes taking a class. It's going to take some time talking to somebody. It's going to take you doing some other things other than what you've been doing right now. Because what you're doing right now is not working. Stop manufacturing happiness so you can tell somebody that you're happy. Are you happy? No. Well, how do we fix that? I need this, and this. Are you content? No. Why? Because what we do, religion and Christianity have taught you to say stuff that's not true. You follow me? There's a passage, and I forget what play Shakespeare. He said, to thy own self be true. When you're sitting with God, it's not, God, I know everything's going to be all right. No, God, I don't. I don't know that everything's going to be all right. But God, if you tell me it's going to be all right, I'll know it's going to be all right. I don't know that this is going to work out, but I know I have the power to help you do what you called me to do. I don't know what this looks like. I know you have me. See, you are lusting after a life. Y'all still want to go deep? You are lusting after a life that's not your life. You are not supposed to be sick. You're not supposed to be broke. You're not supposed to be all these things. But you're not supposed to be lusting after them. So you go, oh, Pastor Dallas said I'm supposed to be this. No, what you're supposed to be saying is, God, you have placed me in a position where I can have something more. I won't accept anything less. Stop involving, hear me, told you want to go deep, let's go deep. Stop involving other people in your spiritual existence. I have a friend of mine, I let him do something for me while he was doing it. He spent over $1,000. We had to pay that. We talked to him the other day. We're fine. Why? If you don't feel that it is your capability nor your responsibility to do what you said you do, I'm not mad at you, bruh. I'm not. I'm good with you. But guess what? I'm not going to keep doing it. God can still tell me to do good because you're broke. I broke that away from me. Let's wake up. Everybody up? Everybody ready? Let's get free. All right? Let's get free. Number one. The way you live your life and the way you exist right now, check out how much of it is emotional. How much of this is emotional? How much of your life is part of an emotional, something's going on? Check that out. Number one, how much is it emotional? How much does it feel? People cut you off right now. If you get hungry, if you feel, is your life determined by your feelings and your emotions? So much to the point that you think you're hearing from God when you're actually hearing your emotions cry out. He said, your own lust and entice. Your own lust and entice. Why do people text me while I'm online? Your own, they probably don't know I'm online. Your own lust and entice. So start thinking about number one. Why are you where you are right now? Why? Why are you in this situation right now? So back to my wife. We're riding down the street and somebody just sitting in I don't know, I think they were sitting in the street. And while they were sitting in the street, they were walking in front of the cars and they were just stopping. And my wife was like, why in the world? You ever been at that point, that why in the world moment? Why in the world do they have the apples next to the apricots? Why in the world? You know that? And then all of a sudden you deal with that. Y'all, anybody been there? Anybody been there when something happens and you like, it just does not make sense to you, so you want to really deal with it. And see, here's the deal. You never stop and ask God about it. You begin to rely on the information that's inside of you. But well, that just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense to you because you're trying to see it through your own information and knowledge. It doesn't make sense to you because you feel like it should be handled a certain way. It doesn't make sense to you. So what has happened is, you ready? Y'all ready for this? Put on your big boy underwear and your big girl panties. What has happened is you have become self-centered in how you interpret it and not brought God in it at all. You don't want God's experience. You don't want God's interpretation. You want to say, I think they should put an apple over there and an orange over there. And what importance is what you think about that situation? Then you're dealing with that situation for 15, 20 minutes, and the people around you have gone on to something else. The person that did it has gone on to something else. Honey, that is a part of you that's trying to invite lust. Because the more you keep thinking it's the way you want it, the more you begin to start pushing everybody else's opinion out of your way. And you do this because around you, things have hurt you. They've disappointed you. They've lied to you. They said that. And so what you've done is what you don't want to happen to you. Y'all ready? I told you, put your big boy underwear on and your big girl panties. What you've done is you now treat people the way they've treated you. So a person comes to you, and the way that church treated you, or the way that man treated you, or the way that woman treated you, you now are treating people the same way. You don't want to admit it. Why? Because, no, I'm different. No, you're not different. You're not different. Why? Because that thing hurt you and it left a mark and a residue in you. But you don't want to be free. So when you were little, they said that you were ugly. So you find yourself judging people that you see. When you were little, they said, oh my God, she's fat. You find yourself gaining weight, but you're judging people that are fat. Now that lust and entice has shifted over, and now you are figuring how that you can make yourself feel better. You don't trust anybody because they didn't trust you or they hurt your feelings. All the things that I talk about, we've dealt with. We've dealt with. And so what happens is, I was talking to the other people, those who thank God for y'all being part of the masterclass. I was talking to the lady about the masterclass. She called me up and she said, so what is that going to do? I said, I'm going to teach you how to master your spiritual existence. And so all of a sudden, here's what I want you to know. Here's what listen to you. I'm going to teach y'all a little hack. If you begin to talk to people about how to fix something, and they begin to tell you how much they fixed it, but it's not fixed, they're afraid. They're afraid. If you go to somebody and say, hey, look, my name is Tawana, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a makeover. I'm gonna do a makeover on you. I'm gonna change your glasses and your hair and all that kind of stuff. And they go, well, you know, I've done my hair before, and I've done that thing before, and I've done this before, and I've done that before. And what they're doing is trying to make sure they feel valid. They don't want to feel like they're just nobody, so they want to feel valid. So they begin to tell you things. I told people the funniest thing to me is I begin to tell them what God tells me, and they start going, I know. God told me that. Why haven't you done anything with it? Because God is trying to get you to the next level. Those people have now put themselves in a position where they're going, well, yeah, you know, I studied the Bible too. And I go, hey, great. This is not a comparison. This is me sharing something with you. I'm glad you've dealt with the Bible. I'm glad you're doing that. So what has happened to you is the broken pieces in your past cause you to break people in the same place. If you don't deal with it. The broken pieces of your past cause you to break people in the same place. And then you hide behind the fact that you're Christian, or you hide behind the fact that you love God, or you hide behind the fact that you're a good person. I'm a good person. No, you're not. You're not a good person, and you're not supposed to be a good person. You're supposed to be a godly person. Because with a godly person, he says he chastens those he loves. With a godly person, he lives based on the truth of God. Have you really asked God how to handle that situation? Have you really stopped and asked God how to handle that person that hurt your feelings? Have you really asked God, should you put him on child support? Have you really asked God, should you stay with her? Have you really asked God, is this where you want me working? Have you really asked God, is this the city you want me in? Or have you gone desperate to God because something has happened to you so bad that you're going, God, get me out of here. God, let me go. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this, because you're based in... See, Christian people base everything on emotion, how they feel. Spiritual people base everything on what God says and how they feel about what God says. Religious people base everything on their flesh. Christian people base everything on how they feel. Christian. Godly people base everything on what God says and how they believe, how they feel about what he says. God told me that I was going to be a billionaire. I don't know, man. I'm working. But they don't look and lust after that. When I begin to read this, and he says you're tempted by your own lust and entice. So what's enticing you? Getting people back, enticing. Not letting people use you, enticing. Judging things the way you feel they should be instead of the way that God told you they should be. All these things are ways that you find yourself drawn away by your own lust and entice. You know what else they do, ladies and gentlemen? They preoccupy you with things that don't make a difference to your destiny. I want you to think about this. Every person in the world that has done you wrong, period, from high school all the way up, they've done you wrong. And not only they've done you wrong, by doing you wrong, they made you feel like you were less than who you were. But all of a sudden somebody says, hey, Tawana, I like your glasses, and we're going to bring you up here. And all the stars are going to wear your glasses. So Tawana goes from where she is right now to a billionaire. She's known everywhere they go. They go, Tawana, aren't you Queen's glasses? Yes, I am. How much time, Tawana, are you going to spend on the people that didn't like you years ago? How much time are you going to spend on the folks that said you couldn't do anything? How much time are you going to spend on all those little things that now seem to be really big things right now? How much time are you going to spend? How much time are you going to spend on the guy that owes you $30? How much time are you going to spend on the person that was supposed to wash your house but they didn't wash your house? How much time are you going to spend on that stuff? How much time are you going to spend on the things that are enticing you to spend time with them? That's what's happening. They're enticing you to spend time with them. How much time are you going to spend on those things? Because you've arrived. But see, if you know that you've arrived in the Spirit, how much time should you spend on those things? How much time do you spend on people? James, the first chapter. James, the first chapter, 13, 14, and 15. James, the first chapter. How much time are you going to spend on those things? But now that you are not in what you believe your vision is, you give those things so much time. Stop. You give those things so much time. You give those things so much effort. Because those things are after your time. That's the entice. Hebrews, the 12th chapter, the first verse says, lay aside every weight. Weights and entice are the same thing. Lay aside every weight and the sin that does so easily beset you. You're being enticed to give your attention to things because your attention is a key ingredient to your movement. Whatever you give attention to, you give life to. Whatever you give life to, let's read a little further. James, the first chapter, let's read a little further. So we said the 14th verse, and he says, but every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. But check it out. Then, when lust is conceived, it brings forth sin. Got me? When lust is conceived, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, brings forth death. So here we go. You ready for your lesson? Entice, lust, sin, death. Entice, lust, sin, death. Entice, lust, sin, death. Entice, lust, sin, death. The scripture above says, God says now, don't say I did this. Don't say that this is just the way it is. Don't say, first of all, God is going, first, before you take your step down to 14 and 15, or 13, 14, and 15, realize this is showing you it's not me. If God says, God is not the author of confusion, he's over confusion. If God says, God is not giving you the spirit of fear, he's over fear. If God says, I'm not tempted, nor do I tempt any man, he's over temptation. He's saying, I'm over it, I got this. So don't get caught up in the cobwebs of operating within this, believing that this is me. It's not me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the rub. If it's not God, you have power over it. If it's not God, you have power. If temptation is there, you have power over it. You follow me? The spirit of fear, you have power over it. You follow me? Everything he says, I'm not in it, you've got power over it. So what you are finding is you are being enticed by the things that are lodged in your spirit, lodged in your mind, and they can tempt you at any moment. That's why they want you to see women, brothers, on TV, the less they dress. That's why they want to see the LBTQ or LBQT generation. The more you see it, because it has an opportunity when it is conceived. When you are enticed with it. Oh my God, that's a really nice suit. Well, you can have this suit for 5 easy payments. Now the enticement is drawing you. Once the enticement has come to completion, it turns to a lust. When the lust is conceived, it turns to sin. When the sin is finished, it brings forth death. So that's like your enticement is saying, come on over here, keep coming, keep coming. I can't see, it's a cloud around me. Keep on coming, keep on coming. You don't know there's a cliff. But the fact that you can drive a Bentley like your pastor, or wear a Gucci suit like the deacon, or I give you a title as a bishop, or I give you a title, all these things are things that have defined you, that enticed you to cause you to lust. The Bible says your brother, the men are brothers, the girls are sisters. All these brothers that got to have 13 titles, a cross in their pocket, a scarf, or look, all these things to identify, to make you feel like they are better than you, or you can't touch them, is the devil. It is a lust. It is a lust. And I've dealt with it even in my life. If I say something and a person doesn't like the name I called them, they all of a sudden feel like I disrespected them. It's a name, bruh. But he's saying this. He says, first you have to be enticed. Guys, you're over enticement. You've got the power over enticement. He said God didn't do this. So if God didn't entice you, you enticed yourself. But hear me. You did not create the things that are within your life. When thoughts come through your mind, they're not your thoughts. What you did is you accepted that life. Some of you know you've come up with ideas and they didn't produce what you thought they should produce. Some of you know you were connected to friends and people, and all of a sudden in your mind you begin to justify, well, he and I didn't get along, or you go through these processes. Some of you know you should have helped your wife instead of judging your wife. Some of you know you should have been behind your husband instead of complaining at your husband. Some of you know that you have created things that have enticed you and caused you to move toward lust. The only key to lust is wanting me to have it more than you have it. Definition of lust: wanting me to have it at the expense of you. That's all lust is. Lust is, I want it at the expense of you. That can be anything, ladies and gentlemen. Lust says, I want it at the expense of you. Oh, baby, I don't care what you have to do to get it to me. Make sure you get it to me. Lust can be so, and it's, when you understand that, you understand how many people are stuck in lust. At the expense of you. Love says, I want it at the benefit of you. I want something because I know it benefits you. He said, then when lust is conceived, it brings forth sin. And when sin is finished, it brings forth death. It brings forth death. I want you to understand something about your existence right now. The thing I want you to understand about your existence is you are in control. You are in control of the existence that you live right now. The challenge that most of you have is you don't know how to take this to the next level. So for the next 10 minutes, let's deal with it. Okay. Number one, you need to be conscious of the perspective of God. Somebody type these for me. Number one, your perspective. You have to write it down. If you can, type it. Perspective. PER, I think it's PER, SPECTIVE. Perspective. Number one, perspective. Your perspective. That's number one. Once you understand your perspective, this is how you fix the lust and the tice. This is how you fix the situation. Perspective. When you understand perspective, you understand how God sees it. So let's deal with some situations, okay? Let's say that somebody borrowed your car. And when they borrowed your car, they end up leaving it somewhere and flying out of town. You go, oh my God, that person so disrespected me. Why? Because the perspective of God is there's a source to every situation. There's a source to every situation. So you call the person up and say, hey, not judging because you don't know what a person is thinking. So you call the person up and say, hey man, why'd you leave my car 2 blocks away and just leave and not tell me where you were? I found you like two weeks later. Because somebody was after you or after me, and if I brought the car to the house, they would have got you. Now all of a sudden perspective change. You go, wait a minute, they did that for me. You follow me? You have to see it in perspective. That's the first thing. That means open to the perspective of God. What is God's perspective? Open to the perspective of God. So everything you're looking at, what's God's perspective about it? And when you look at what God's perspective is about it, then you judge it from God's perspective. The Bible says judge righteous judgment. That's number one. Perspective is number one. Number two is patience. You have to be patient. Anything that happens to you, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count until you feel a shift in how you feel about it emotionally. You have to be patient or steadfast. Be patient. Number two, be patient. Why? Because things will happen to you quickly. That's how they control you. Things will happen quickly. That's how they control you. And the way they control you is get you to move now, move now. Come on, you want this car now. You want this right now. You want this husband right now. You want this. And what that does, that speed addresses your lust and gets you to jump in something that is hard to get out of. My first marriage. I'm sorry. My first relationship with the baby's mom. Because they try to get you to move fast. They try to get you to move quick. So have perspective and be patient. God is going to bring you out. He's going to fix every situation. He's going to fix every circumstance. Every circumstance. Number three, I'm going to just throw this out here. Learn about the level you want to go to. Learn about the level you want to go to. Those of you that want to be millionaires, if you're willing to go through $1 million worth of hell, you're already a millionaire. Because God's not going to put you in a situation that is dangerous, entices you into something worse. Now you can make it yourself, but God's not going to put you someplace. He's going to start creating opportunities for you to be prepared for that stuff. All of a sudden you run into an accountant, you never knew. All of a sudden you run into a financial planner, you never knew. All of a sudden I'll say something you never knew. What you have to do is get ready for the next level. Prepare yourself for this level because God's preparing you. So if you're patient, if you have perspective, you have patience, it means God is preparing you for the next level. The quicker you learn, the faster you move. The quicker you learn, the faster you move. Realize that. So he's preparing you for the next level. All right? Number 4. Stop attaching yourselves to situations that distract you from your past. Stop getting distracted. Very simple. Stop getting distracted. Yes, they stole your car, or yes, something happened to your window. Yes, these things happen, but I'm trying to get you to understand, because they happen, your life has not changed. You have not been redefined. You have not been these things just happen to your life. Somebody cut you off. If they didn't hit your car, let it go. Count to 10, keep it moving. Why? Because that quick moment could be the moment that God wants to show you something. Let it go. Set everybody free right now. Stop getting distracted, or stop getting distracted by stuff that's not guiding you to where God wants you to be. Number 5. Get rid of every opinion you've had about anybody from your past. That's going to be the most difficult of all of them. If a pastor hurt you, doesn't mean every pastor is bad. If a man hurt you, doesn't mean every man is bad. If a situation didn't work, doesn't mean you have to get away from that situation. Stop blanketing everything because of one small thing. Ladies, you have not met every man in the world. But the 3 guys you met, because you want to make sure you don't get hurt again, the 3 guys you met have caused you not to want to deal with guys. Some of you have gone over to the other side, as a friend of mine used to say. Because what your pains have done, well, I don't want to get hurt like that again. The best way to beat fear is knowledge. The best way to beat fear is knowledge. Get rid of, I don't care who did it. Do you know I was in a store one time? I'll never forget this all the days of my life. I was in a store and there was this cute little girl and she was helping us and she had rainbows all over her and then she had a little rainbow kitty or whoever it was kitty. And I said to her, I said, hey, how are you? She said, I'm fine. How are you? I'm like, what's the matter? She said, nothing. She had an attitude already. But I realized the rainbow said that she was a part of the LBQT community. And she was trying to make sure she defended herself against people because she had all these rainbows on. She thought I was going to say something about her or judge her. I wasn't about to judge her. All I was doing is asking her, hey, how you doing? She's helping me. There are some of you that are already in a mood of anger, already in a mood of upset, already in a mood where you're ready to jump down somebody's throat. Why? Because you think a pastor comes to you and say something and he turns into the pastor that hurt you because you never fixed the pain. Oh, it happens all the time. I would tell a person, listen, and people have seen, you guys have seen God move online. You watched God, literally, while we're in meetings, God will do something. While we're on the line with the mentoring class, God will do something, or he'll say something, or you've been there, you're with me, you're on the walk with me, and I will say something to somebody, say, hey, God, join the thing. Well, you know, y'all pastors, all y'all want to, really? Ladies, you make a man have to live the life of the person you should have said something to in the first place? You should have went to that pastor and wrote him a letter and said, that was not right. But no, what you did is you ran. I'm just not dealing with pastors because I just don't deal with religion. One religious relationship changed you into the person of all religion bad. All Christians are bad. Oh no, I know as a general rule, I know some churches right now that I love going to. Yes, I know some Christians. My job is not to say don't go to church. My job is not to say you're not a Christian. My job is to say stop, get out of kindergarten. Get out of college and go to the graduate school of your spirit. I know the things that are going to happen in religion. I know the things that are happening in Christianity, but you need to be up here. Break that stuff. Forgive and release. The only school, the only class you need to do in your life is learning how to live in the spirit. That's the only thing that you're learning how to do. Learning how to live in the spirit. How do you do it? Hey, you can hang out with us. Hang out with us in the mentoring classes and the master classes and all of these things that we do. Why? Because we move by the Spirit of God. We move by learning how to be more like God. Learn how to master your spiritual existence. That's the goal. That's the goal. Learning how to master your spiritual existence. Make sure you join our app. Get on the app. Get in the app. Make sure you go on the app. Get our app. Go on the app. It's Higher Standards Organization. Get on the app. It's on the App Store. It's everywhere. Get in the app. Why? Because as we begin to move, you want this more information. The more information you want. See, right now, most of you have to break the religious thing. You got to break the religious bound. Most of you. Most of us. There's some things that pop up religion me. I'm just, oh my God, what was the religion? That you've got to break that. And sometimes it takes help to break it. Sometimes you need somebody to break it with you. Sometimes you need to be people around you. I have a great bunch of people around us. Great. Any one of them can take the mic and teach. Any one of them to reach in. Why? Because we have now been basing our lives on the spiritual transformation of God. Stop letting your past define you, people. Get rid of all those opinions you have about everybody, everything, every situation in your past. You're not there anymore. You didn't learn how to ride a bike? Learn how to ride today. You were overweight years? See, you have a new day. How many of us keep pulling stuff from our past and pulling stuff from our past and letting that become our existence? Everything you did, you would need to be free of. You should be able to go back to that church where the pastor said something crazy. You should be able to say something to the man that said something crazy. You should be able to say something to the woman. I'm going to do a class called The Difference in Forgiveness and Restoration. You should not be hindered by anything that happened in your past. Anything. When you understand that the only reason you are is because you're drawn away by your own lust or you're enticed to lust. That's all. You can be free. Change your perspective. You are free. When you look at any situation, look at it from a point of being free. Look at it from the point of nothing you lose is ever lost. Nothing you give is ever gone. Write that down. Nothing I lose is ever lost. Nothing I give is ever gone. That's a spiritual concept. Nothing you lose is ever lost. Nothing you give is ever gone. Those of you to write that down, I'm going to say it again. Higher Standards Organization in the App Store. Nothing you lose is ever lost. Nothing you give is ever gone. We're in a spiritual existence, people. Those of you that have not joined the master class, please join the master class because it's there. Discounts are gone. Go to higherstandards.life and you can join the master class before we get started. Nothing you lose is ever lost. Nothing you give is ever gone. You're in the spirit. Nothing you lose is ever lost. The Bible says that he can see everything. He is light when there's darkness. So nothing you lose is ever lost. Nothing you give is ever gone. All right? Like I said, those who want to join the masterclass, simply go to higherstandards.com, higherstandards.life. It's right there. Join the masterclass because the masterclass will close. It will be closed. And those of you that are part of the masterclass, I'm going to do a class. I'm probably going to have a conversation tonight about some of the things we need for the masterclass so we can start releasing things to you. And your welcome letters are going to go out. What is today? What is today? You know what? We're not going to do this on this call. I'm going to cut this call off because I want people to be able to watch the video and be able to watch it and go through it. Share this video. You know you need to. You know you need to share the YouTube video. Why? People need to know this. You want free people around you. You want free people around you. So share the video. All right? Share the video. All right? I love you guys. Father, we thank you right now. God, I love you so much. I love you that you continually allow us to live a miraculous life. We thank you for the miraculous move of your spirit. We thank you for the words and the power and the strength and all the things that you've given us in this day and age. We thank you that you've called us to a different level of power, a level of power that is not hindered by religion, that's not hindered by Christianity, that's not hindered by circumstances. The only thing that causes us to move forward is our move and our connection and our divine love of you. God, fix broken places. God, I thank you that whatever is happening in everybody's life, that you will give them the power to overcome. Let them reach down in their spirit and pull out that thing that's great. God, I thank you for the young lady that needs you to move right now, the young man that is in confusion. We thank you that you give them clarity of mind, clarity of sight. I fleece you today, Father. Show them who you are, as you do for me every day. Show them who you are. Prove to them that you are God. I know you are. You are my evidence. You are my substance. You are my life. You are my breath. Prove to them who you are. And we'll be careful to thank you according to what your Son did in heaven. And we always will be appreciative of that. Amen. Those of you that can give today, donate today, the Cash App is hso.life. It's in the bottom of those with YouTube. Give something today, share something today, and I bless God for you. So TikTok, YouTube, you guys, I thank you very much for being a part of us. I thank you guys for those of you that are watching on the app. Thank you so much for watching us on the app. I mean, that's kind of cool. You can kind of take it anywhere, everywhere. So I thank you very much. So you guys be blessed. And I will see you on Tuesday for the mentoring class. And I will see you on, whatever whatever God says. But I'll see you guys on Tuesday. All right, love you.